Good evening, and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the think, the talk show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find his or her way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. One of the things that we're going to have to remember as we move forward is that a lot of our elders, that civil rights generation, is starting to recycle back in. So I would suggest to many of you is to get as much information from your elders as possible. Ask them questions that, they may seem that it's hard or why you asking me that. Get questions, get answers from your people, because this is the dilemma we face. And I know this is something we don't talk about, but we should. One of the things you'll notice about the civil rights generation is that many of them came from large families, which means they had 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and even up, brothers and sisters. That's rarely seen now because of the culture we wanted to integrate into. The reason they had so many children is because many of them lived on farms. They was farmers. They were shepherds of the land. You can put whatever you want to put on it. So they needed to have kids. Why? Because they needed hands. You needed hands because you had all this land, and whatever you was doing, whatever you were growing, whatever you were doing, you needed hands. So the indigenous people had children. Some people came over across the water, saw what you had built already, decided they wanted for themselves, and devised a way to take it from you. One of those ways were letting you integrate in with them so you could start taking on their ways. You could start being with them. You could, share everything you have with them, give them everything. While all that was going on, the children stopped coming. The children stopped coming. See, that's on all of us. Don't try to be like, I didn't know, help me. Nah. You were reproduced. Isn't it your job to reproduce? Ain't that how life goes, dude? So we lost a lot of that. And then we integrated into a culture where abortions, especially for the young, was commonplace. So I just want you to keep that in mind going forward. This generation now that's on the brink of getting out of here, what information can we get from them? What can we glean from them? Don't be ignorant when asking them questions. They'll know if you're genuine. So I'm waiting for Rabel to come because I know that's what many of you are here for. But Rebel is outstanding. Put her on before Public Enemy. Cool. So I put the link to the chat at the top. It's the first thing posted. If anybody want to come and give us some thoughts. Oh, here she go now. At the top is the first thing posted. If anybody want to come. Yes, the rhythm, the rebel. Man, they was about to beat me up. They was about to beat me up to get you on here.
How you doing, Carrie?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
Hold on one second.
Cool.
Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you fine.
Okay.
Can the chat hear her? Okay. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Yes, Rebel. Yes. So what's going on, Rebel?
Not much. Hanging in there.
Well, cool. Well, listen. I just want to jump right into it. I
Yeah.
just want to jump right into it. We were talking about before you came in the elders, our elders that are, slowly but surely getting out of here. Well, what do you have to say about that, and what should we be thinking about and doing at this time?
You know what they have done, they have a lot of our elders, they're in nursing homes. A lot of our elders, we're out of touch with them because they use the television to make us believe that they were fragile, senile, they were useless. So we began to throw. It was a time where you never saw a melanated elderly female in a nursing home, but you see them all the time now. And they began to throw them in nursing homes and diagnose them with dementia and Alzheimer's. Me being in the healthcare field, I'm able to talk to some of them, and even though they'll be off a little bit because nobody have talked to them, they'll be off a little bit. Some of them can tell you that they're indigenous to America. And I remember one time it was a younger woman, and I was gonna get dreadlocks. And she told me, and I never noticed it before. She said, I want you to look around. She said, do you see any elders like back in the day? She said, you need to look around. When they died, they took everything with them. All the knowledge that we had, they took it with them. So it's like right now, that's just like when you talk to a lot of people that understands now that they don't come from Africa. When you talk to them, the first thing they say, I wish I would have talked to my grandmother more. That's
Yeah,
the first thing a lot of them say, because like when my grandmother would sit down and talk to me, and she would tell me that a lot of us don't come from Africa. She was the first one to tell me that. And when she would tell me about her great grandmother being full-blooded Cherokee, I didn't want to hear it back then. But I think about it now, and she was the only one that had the key to tell me to tell me that. And some of them tried to tell us, but it was like when Pan African, when it began, like in the 80s and 90s, when it began to really take off, it's like it drowned it. It drowned what your grandmother told you. And it took like you to come out in 20, I guess that was 2013, when you came out with your video and that went viral. When you came out with that video, and it kind of like woke a lot of us up, like, wait a minute, my grandmother sure did tell me that. But it
yeah.
was designed because they knew that the grandmothers, they held the key. And even if some left, but it's not that many. It's not that many. And I'm not when this is how they do things. From birth to like about 39, you young. After 40, you old. No, I'm talking about elderly, like in their 80s, 90s. Those are the ones that can really break stuff down to you. They can tell you that their family had acres, hundreds of acres of land. I'm talking about the elderly, not how society tell us how we, this is why in school they give us they tell us to count numbers, because they want you to think that when you at a certain age, this is how when you 40, you're old. But you're not old, you're just beginning to live life. But our elderly, they want to psych our mind out so we don't look at the elderly. But it's some that's still there, but it's not that many.
So the elderly that's leaving off now. Okay, so the next generation that's coming up after them, what do you see coming from them or
Uh,
us?
uh, a lot of them, if to be honest, a lot of them, like 40 and on down, a lot of them, they don't have it. It's the ones that's out here talking now, but the ones out here now, like in their 50s, 60s, 70s, they're telling you to go get an injection. They have no fight in them. A lot
Yeah.
of them don't have
Yeah.
any fight.
You damn sure right about that.
Yeah. They have no fight in, and when you talk to them, it's like, that's why I did a video and I was like, is these people, it's like they so brainwashed they can't come back. And that's why we have to adopt the concept that we cannot save everybody. You just, the people that catch on, you let them catch on and you keep moving. Because in this move, I'm not going to say this is a movement, because this is life. This is our life that's been covered up and they buried. Our land is still here, but they tore down a lot of stuff to make us believe that a lot of stuff that our ancestors, they tore it down to make us believe that, you know, we didn't have a culture. The way they did it, Carrie, the way they did it to us, they made it seem as though we could have been a slave. That's why a lot of us adapted to that, because in our communities, it was so impoverished. A lot of us, we came from poverty. And we adapted to that. So when they told us that we was a slave, it fit. Because we didn't have nothing. They had took everything from us, because they told our ancestors, you go ahead and you look up to Jesus while we take all your shit. And they went along with it. So that's why what we in right now, that's why we in this, because a lot, like my auntie, she never talked to us. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this out. What did they, my auntie was like an Amazon woman. I was so afraid of her when I was a young girl. But she wouldn't tell us the right thing to do, and she saw a lot, but they were so quiet. They wouldn't talk at all. And this is the generation that's going out of here now, that's going into elderly, like 80s and 90s now.
Right.
But they can't tell you, they still not talking. A lot of them won't say anything, but some of them will.
So why do you think they're not saying anything? Especially if, I mean, I'm sure they can see the goings on in America today. So to protect their children, their nieces, their nephews, why aren't they saying anything?
It bottles me.
I hear you.
I don't know if it's fear I don't know what these people did to them. That's the only thing I can say, because they're not scary. To me, I don't see what's so scary about them.
Right.
Because you live. You're going to die.
Right.
But it's almost like, I don't know if they're afraid of death. If you came in this world, you're going to leave it.
Right.
So you tell me they don't have that fight in them. They don't, like us, we have fight in us. They don't have that fight in us. And carry the way things is going right now. I have a friend and she worked with the children. And a lot of them is strung out. They got them messed up so bad. You could find a couple of them that's on the right track. But on the norm, they fearless. They got it, but they fearless. But it's like they doing all the wrong things. So if people like us, if we don't talk, and if we don't open up that we don't come from Africa, then after us, then what is going to happen?
Yeah, I find it strange. The since this came on, all the jumpers on that is just spreading complete disinformation. And all African Americans ain't African is saying, and this is all we saying, what I explained when we first started. Your people come from this land here. This is the land that birthed your people. To turn your back on it, to say you a Hebrew Israelite, to say you a Moor, to say you Greek, to say you Christian, to say you all of this. When you come from right here, now, I'm sorry, dude, really? And it's the truth, but you will keep lying, and then you'll pass that shit down to your kids. So that's what I'm here. We can't do that. We can't do that. And there's people like that makes me sick. So you're absolutely right with these elderly getting out of here. Where's our reservoir for information? Who are the ones that's going to pass it down? because what I'm seeing being passed down now with all these cats, it's like they trying to get us out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mean to see people blatantly disrespect you and you just with it? You would try to you would try to lie. You would try to come up with a lie right there to make sure that it's okay. And they pissing all over your grandmama's granddaddy grave and the lineage that got you here. And you just, dude. And so that's what I'm seeing. Because we all have people we love, if it's nieces, nephews, children, whatever. We want to see them reach their full potential, like we're trying to reach ours. And let me ask you this: could it be that because we haven't reached our full potential, we don't really care if the children reach theirs? Does it seem like that to you?
Yeah, you hit it right on the nail. That's true. That's true. And a lot of us, we just don't care. We have to look at this in a lot of dynamics, because it's a lot of people that have played into it and they have sold us out. It's a lot of people right now have played into it. So they're not gonna, what me and you talking and what we're trying to put out here and other people too. It's not only me and you, it's a lot of people. What we're trying to put out here, a lot of people, it's not that they don't know the truth. See, they try to make it seem as though they're stupid. They're not. A lot of them is not stupid. It's just the simple fact is that they done sold out. We think they have given us this illusion that if you live in a huge house and you got a nice car, you done made it. But the house is full and your brain is empty. And because you can front in a Mercedes Benz that you can barely pay for, because they're not going to give you, if you got this color, this copper tone, they're not going to give you too much stuff because they don't want your children to have anything. That if you have a gift, they'll use you, but they're going to throw your children back to the ghetto. It's almost like we'll sell out for anything, and our mind is like children. If you really look at the adults now and you talk to them, sometimes I'll just when somebody says something and I know it's no point of return, I just stop talking, because there's no point of going back and forth with anybody. I just stop talking, because sometimes some people they done sold out to the point that it's no coming back. That's just like, now that they make it seem as though, Carrie, you've been about one of the first ones that came out. Now that it has become popular, what we're talking about now, the other Pan-African people that was out there, now they're trying to switch up.
Yeah, that should look sad.
Yeah,
really, dude.
You can tell that they're not really studying. You can tell it because they're calling themselves Aboriginals.
Right.
They're trying to. That's just like this guy. He's well known. He critiqued one of my videos, and the stuff he was saying. It was like he was making it seem as though I was in the wrong what I was saying, and it's like they know that it's taken off, but the narrative they want to say is that even though we were the first over here, we were still Africans. And this is why when they use algorithm to monitor what we're doing, because they don't want us to take off. They know what we're doing is going to blow up, but they don't want us to be out there. They don't want to Carrie Davis, which you already is well known, but they don't want you to be out there and on top. And you was about one of the first ones that came out that everybody knew about.
Well, I think I came out on this platform, but I think I came out. I think I'm just one of the first ones to hit, the social media like I did. But there are millions before me and who I've learned from, who are out there spreading stuff, that you will never hear of, because we really don't care about the information. This is the African American now, the African American dichotomy that we're in. We're in a Well, I think somebody just said spell. Somebody told us that we're this group of people, African Americans. We don't, when you talk about your ancestors, they weren't called African Americans. That should get you. You should be like, well, damn, you're right. They wasn't calling you African American when they were calling you black. They weren't calling you African American when they were calling you Negro. There was no African American when you were called colored, the colored regiment of the army or whatever. That term African American didn't even exist. That alone should make you go, something's up. And this is what I'm saying. This is why you have a lot of people coming from other places, other lands, because there's many Negroes around here that are just trying to be you, and they're arrogant about it. The African chick that's been a generation here, she sounds just like you. She wants to sound just like you. She'll throw her mama tongue away to sound like you. But you want to sound like you want to be somebody else. That's what African Americans going. You can say whatever. It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen what these cats are doing. And why we're not picking it up, why we're not spreading the message, you seeing what you're making people do. They want to be you. Everybody wants to be you. But you want to be everybody else. So it's not going to work. The children, if you're listening, when I say children, I mean 30 and under. Check your genealogy with your family. Check out who your people were, your mother's family, your father's family. Even if your mom and dad wasn't together, still check them out. It counts. And man, find out who you are. And when you find out who you are, dude, your whole life will change.
Yeah.
Is that, you think that's right, Rabel?
Yes, you're right. Because I can even look at myself, and I tell people, and it's not for anybody to feel sorry for me, but I was a high school dropout because I was taught. I didn't understand what they were teaching me in school.
You were smart.
I know. So, but I went back and I got my GED and got a little degree, and it was like I suffered from a real bad depression because I didn't understand was this. I remember when I was a CNA before I became a nurse, when I was a CNA, and I'm sitting up here and I'm driving a brand new car. I was making $10 an hour. These fools gave me a brand new car, knew I couldn't afford it, and plus pay my rent. They gave me this car and I was just struggling. I used to cry a lot because I'm like, this is what they told us to go out and get. This is what they said success is. And I used to hang with a lot of Africans. And it was almost like they made you feel as though, yes, bitch, you is a slave, but I'm not. And it made you feel some type of way to the point, Carrie Davis, before I heard your video, I stopped fooling with them because they was too disrespectful. So I stopped. My friend, she was going to marry one. I stopped hanging with them. And I was so relieved when I found out the truth. And that's what built my confidence, because I know this right here, I'm in the right place. I'm in my land, and it's like when you find out the truth, they'll never say that to you again. Once you find out the truth of who you are, you would never have a problem with an African again, because they're not going to approach you because they can see it. It's like they eat off of your weakness. But once I found out, it was like it changed my life. That's just like you see these young kids out here, beautiful children, and it's like they willing to die for anything. The reason why is because they went through the same thing I went through. They went through the same thing I went through. We was in a school system that was built to tell us that we was a slave and mess up our mind. Basically, they was telling us them 12 years that we wasn't shit. And if you want something, you got to go through us to get it. And then everything that they told us to do, trust the police, go get an education. Then when we got grown, they turned on us. Then at 18, they want to lock you up. But you told us when we was in first grade, when you showed us them pictures, you told us to trust the police. But then they be the main ones trying to meet their quota and lock you up. You know?
Yeah, so you're basically seeing the world changing now.
Yeah.
I mean, you see this how whatever this. I don't even think it's a government, because it doesn't work. It hasn't worked for a long time, and the people who it should have worked for, it don't work for. But we like to keep our mouths shut. We don't like to say anything. And when you talked about your aunt, how she knew what was going on, but she never said nothing. Do you think that's a disease or a problem that has spread down to the rest of us?
Yeah. Yeah, it is a disease. And she would say little stuff to me because I was outspoken. Even as a young girl, I was outspoken. And she said one time, she told me, she said, the stuff you say, if I would have said that back in the day, they would have killed me. Sometimes she said I had to put my head down and not look at a person. Something in that order. She was telling me how she couldn't look them in their eye.
Right.
And telling me because my people is from Clark. My mother and father is from Clarksdale, Mississippi, and they ran all the black. If you go there now, it's abandoned basically.
Right.
So she's from a part of Mississippi, but it was like she would always tell me that because I was real outspoken even as a little girl. And it's like now melanated people, after the crack epidemic, we got really bad. We was already bad, but we got really, really bad to the point a melanated person will sell you out for $5. Let them give you $10. It's about anything that's free, we want it. We don't care what it is. If it's free, we want, and we've been trained. When they start giving us government cheese, all this free stuff, Section 8. When they start giving us this is all we want, is free stuff. If we can't get it free or steal it, it's like it's not
worth it.
It's not sufficient for us. That's how our mind works. It's real strange. And they sit up here and they built all these projects and put us in all of these holes while they took all the land. And we thought they was giving us something, and they really wasn't. They was just taking your land. And they had to occupy your mind on something else while they did what because they already knew what they were doing. And to this day, they still doing the same thing.
You know what? That's why it seems to me that you have all these naysayers, pro PanAfricanism. It seems like that's what they're trying to cover up for, because it blows my mind, the people who have just came in and see this and going back and searching their families and stuff. And it seems like these new people are just trying to slow them down, because everything, it's brother said it in the chat a few minutes ago, everything they told us was a lie. I mean, if you just think about it, they wouldn't teach their children what they teach you in these schools. But since we think we're getting some free, we think I got to get my kids in the school. So when you said, you was a high school dropout, shoot, I know people got third grade educations, geniuses. I think that the school, and I'm pretty sure, and I can back this up with the evidence, I really think school is there to slow us up. I really think so. I think if we get the basic things that we need to do, like say being a nurse, shoot, but when girls playing with dolls, they can be doing the nursing thing. It's just how we're taught, and we're in their system. Shit, you can graduate high school at 10 years old if that's what you say. But since we don't say nothing, we always go on what other people say. We always do what they say. This is what happens. It's a mess. The whole education system has been for us a whole bunch of wasted time. And we act like, shoot, that's the next best thing to Jesus. That's where we at. Mm-hmm. So with these times that are going on now, everybody, I mean, I know you're seeing what's going on in Canada, and people are starting to get it here. What do you think is the next step you know, because it seems like everybody is pulling in their troops. Every nation is looking out for each other because it's obviously they don't care about the Americans, which is you. They all these people coming over here saying they're American and you saying you African today still.
Wow. Yeah. Well, what they're trying to do, that's why we have to be careful. We have to be real careful because everything they did it slow. They did it real slow, and they planted a seed, but when they planted that seed, they knew they wouldn't be here to see it, but they knew that it would grow, but it grew real slow. A lot of these Africans, and I'm going to say this too before I say this. I don't have nothing against Africans. I really don't. I really don't, because some of them is not bad, but I've met a lot of them that was real disrespectful. But what they're doing, they're they come over here and they children, and sometimes it don't even be their children. Sometimes it be them. They come over here. That's just like Akon. I hope I'm saying his name right. When he do an interview, you can see that he have an accent, but when he's singing a song, he sounds just like us. When this woman, this African woman that played Harriet Tubman, she was able to change her voice and sound just like a person like me. But this was an African woman that's very racist towards. She don't like American people, and she have stressed that American indigenous people, she don't like them, and she have stressed that. But she was able to play a role in all these melanated women out here that's indigenous, but you gave it to an African. What they're trying to do, they want to move us out the way and allow these Africans to come over here and take over. And they mimicking us. They're trying to. This is why if you look at them, the stuff that we was doing 10 years ago, they doing it now. The stuff we was doing back in the day, this is what they do. When we move to another level, then the stuff we was doing back like 5, 10 years ago, then they do it. It's like America is the cream of the crop, but they will never tell us that because they want us to feel as though that we were slaves, like we was on the bottom of a ship like luggage. And they want us, if we believe it, then they win. If we put that in our head and believe it, they win everything. Because we're gonna go along with whatever they say. What they really want, they want to replace us with Africans. This is why they came up with the Ghana concept. Before they came out with coronavirus, they came out with told us to go back to Ghana, and they'll just let us on in. And every melanated person that went over there, I know somebody that went over there, they came right back here, because it's not in you to do that. You indigenous, we live different from them.
Yeah, I mean it's past. I'm past that because I think as we're all evolving, it's like you say, you just can't take them all with you, and it's like, damn, y'all, you ask some people who their grandma is, they don't know. Why? Because I never looked it up, and I know we like to play. Oh, she went to a false. We always come up with an excuse. Everything we do, it has to be an excuse of why we can't be better behind it. Whatever it is. If your mother and father got killed on the freeway and you was in the back seat, you can still check out their lives. You got grandmothers, you got brothers and sisters. You can check out who your grandparents were. Nothing is impossible. I mean, we'll tell our kids that, but we won't believe that ourselves. That's kind of a shitty position to put your kids in. We got to see you do it. Where's our governments? How come the so-called African American hasn't built no government? How come the so-called African American hasn't built up historically black colleges and universities? Why do they do? It's just something to just keep you going around in a circle. You let anybody tell you who you are, and you will fight somebody for what they told you, won't you? Most will. Talk to your elders out there. They got a lot. They're overflowing with information. Get it out of them. It's your job to get it out of them.
Yeah,
Right?
that is definitely true. And we think because the elderly they like real preserved. They not like us. They're very most of them ain't gonna talk that much. But if you talk to them, even the ones that got dementia, you'd be surprised what they'll tell you. You'd be surprised because I didn't met so many of them. And the first thing I asked them, and basically you can tell when a person is indigenous, you can see it very clearly now. When you become enlightened and you know who you are, you can see. And one time I asked one elderly lady, and she started laughing. She said, "I don't see how I was a slave, and my people own hundreds of acres of land, and now we have nothing. We're not. That's why we're sickly now. We don't have nothing in agriculture. When we go to school, you want to teach me algebra, which I can't use, but you don't want to teach me how to farm. The clothes that I got on right now, I had to go buy them from somebody. You don't teach me how to sew. You don't teach me nothing that I can build my own business. But you tell me to go and I can be. I remember back in the day, they didn't push us to be nurses. They didn't push us to be nothing that we can heal or do something to make our community better. They never gave us any of that. But they wanted us to learn our one, two, threes and our ABCs because they wanted us to work their jobs, but they turn around and they have the business. This is why we messed up right today because they told us to go get an education instead of telling us to get our own business. Buy land. They never stressed us to buy land because once you buy land, then you can farm your own land. And see, we know nothing about most people don't know anything about it, and we're so detached from Mother Nature. We're so detached from nature to the point we don't want to touch it. Let a bug jump on one of us. We ready to pass out. But we was one with nature at one point in our life, but we're not like that now.
I saw a sister one time. Some cats threw some water on her. I mean, I actually could see her soul leaving her body. That's how afraid she was of it. That's how much energy. I mean, it was unbelievable. Also, it wouldn't mess up her hair.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, that taught me something though.
Yeah. Do you do you know how detached we are? Carrie, I've been in the healthcare field for about 20 years. I've been in the healthcare field. It's something about a black woman's hair that when it's out of order, it makes us feel some type of way. It's something about our hair that it have to if our hair not done, it's almost like we're like we go through a depression. You know, our elderly, they in a nursing home and a lot of them got family. I have never in my 20 years, this is how detached we are from our elderly. I've never seen a melanated woman come in there and comb her mother's hair. I've never in my life saw a mother a daughter come in there and give her mother a bath.
Damn.
And what happens when that happened? They shut down. I've seen them. I've seen it so many times. They shut down because we the type of people they can tell us something and we run with it. They can tell you that your people is gonna you can put your mother in a nursing home and they're gonna care for your mother. But all your mother know is you. She know her children. So when they put her in a nursing home, they feel as though the caregivers going to give her that one-on-one, and that's not how it works. And then these elderly women the ones that's left begin to shut down. And it's almost like they come in there. The only time they come and see them is on Sunday because This built this institution where your mother is at, then lied to you and told you that we're going to give them that emotional support that they need, and we're not going to do, we can't do it. And they don't understand that you still, even though if you have to put your mother up in a place like that, you still have to be there for her to keep her going on. And I've never in my 20 years, Carrie, I've never saw it. One time I saw a mother, a daughter fight for her mother. One time. And I'm talking about melanated people. And it was a time where we was a close-knit family. We was close-knit. We had cemeteries with just us, our family, right there in that cemetery.
Right.
It's not like that anymore. And the sad thing about it, they'll sit there, and these are, melanated women, we're known for being nurturers. You don't see that in this generation. They'll sit there and just stare at their mother and won't lift a finger. Ain't nothing wrong with their body. And they'll see her and won't just stare at her because they feel that they're giving her that time.
Yeah, I'm seeing that a lot too. I just saw that with the lady. She was waiting out in the car with her mom. Her mom was elderly, and I guess her mom didn't have all her faculties in order. And so the mother just leaned over, and her head was on the windshield, the back driver's seat window. She just leaned in that position. She was uncomfortable, but her daughter just looked at her and just kept looking at her magazine.
Yeah,
I was like, damn.
yeah, because they tune it out, and you have to look at it too. We not the capacity of how we get sick, the capacity before we 40. Me and you, we lucky, but before we 40, your body is already broke down. That's not normal. But the reason why they took over agriculture, that was to so they can take all the minerals and vitamins you need for your body. They took them out of everything. So you're not getting the proper nutrition that you need. And they did that by design because that was to kill us off. This is why they did that. What you see in the impoverished melanated community, you're not going to see in the pale, the white people. You're not going to see it in their community.
But isn't it a point? And it's like one of the brothers just said, it's up to us to do that. I mean, we can't blame, this has been going on too long. I mean, if your husband was acting like this, he'd be gone by year 3. This has been going on. The same people we all, integrated with. This has been going on for too long. And we just going along with it like we don't know what's happening. See, that's the part that gets me. We try to pretend like, I don't know. I don't see nothing. I don't know. That's how we act. And we see this shit. But we keep participating in it. And we teach our children to participate in it. I mean, so what do you think we're supposed to get out of that?
Well, the reason why you see a lot of people participating in it because that it's trinkets. It's like a lot of people really don't care. It's almost okay. For example, when I pass my medication, a lot of people is addicted to narcotics. So they don't care about the other pills that's in that cup. The only thing they concerned about is that narcotic. It better be there. They don't care about they don't ask me about no other pill but that narcotic. A lot of us we have been deprived of so much to the point if we can get a little bit more than the average melanated person, we on board. And that's what a lot of us suffer from. A lot of us, we live from the outer appearance. We don't care. We don't care about what's going on around us.
Right.
As long as we can live a certain life in front of melanated people, because we're all we're fronting in front of our own people.
Right.
And this is what we like to do. We have to show out. It's about us getting ahead like a competition. You know.
and ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just like, okay, what's going on now? It's like it's like it's like they like somebody told me, my God, you should have been blew up. Yeah, I could have blew up if I was doing silly shit. But this what we're doing right now is just like what we're doing right now is just like I didn't lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. But I didn't lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Carrie.
No, it's like I see, it's going to get, or it's going to have to get to the point, because they have some people saying that America won't even be a country in 60 years. This is how bad these corporations have came in and messed up everything. And all of y'all sitting in the chat know it. But we keep supporting those corporations, but we don't support ourselves. We got to pay for that. We know we can't blame nobody. My stomach was hurting. No, we got to pay for that. So we can keep blaming everybody else. We just look like little bitches when we do that. You seen the world has set up on your doorstep, right in your face, and you are the ones who brought them in. You said it was cool. You saying, we are the world, we are the children. But when you go to their homes, and they don't play that shit. So all you cats who's trying to be other people, go there and let those people know that you're home and you're ready for service. The brothers and sisters from here, and this is what I mean about America being your land, and this is the land that birthed you. You have brothers, you have Pan-Africans thinking that there were no people here. This whole landmass, America, from Alaska down to Chile, was empty, including the Caribbean too. You're walking around tricking people like it was nobody here. All these people saying America is our land. No, it's not. And we don't say nothing. Ask them to prove it. Haven't we died how many times? You need the seeds to go ahead and build this thing and grow. That's what myself, Rabel, Indigenous Accomac, that's what everybody's doing. We see it. We see it. Unfortunately, y'all see it too, but you're scared. Like Rabel said earlier, you got to die sooner or later. You better die doing something, putting in the ground for your children, your grandchildren, your mother, your grandmother, because you just the link in the chain. And it would be wise to keep that chain going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go to the chat and see what people are saying. So, Asanawa Nasa or Awanasa. David M. Hotep wrote a book about Africans were here first. Okay, so this is what I mean. You got cats saying Africans were here first. And when you ask them to prove it, they can't never prove it. Now they'll give you some old bullshit that you don't know about or you ain't never heard of. But if Africans were here first, how they get here? And everybody's answer is, what's that, Pangea? It was Pangea. Part of Africa is under Maine. They say all kind of stupid shit. And they have no proof of that. Africans don't say that. Africans don't teach their people that somebody came over to Africa and kidnapped their children 300 years ago, 200, whenever they say it was. There's no ships over here. That don't make you question stuff? To the African American, no, because they do what they're told every day of their life. Is that right, Rabel? Am I wrong on that?
Oh, you 100% right. You 100% right. We're followers. You don't have many leaders. You have followers. It's like we're crabs in a barrel, and we don't. It's like we don't want. If you say I've worked in an establishment where it was melanated women, and if you see the competition, it's just unbelievable. And it's almost like we're not used to anything, but we had everything. America is the best. This is why everybody want to be us. But they stripped us so badly to the point that we act like we are slaves. We really did take on the narrative of what they told us. Because a lot of us, we act just like slaves. And we see a white person come along, we think that they better than us, and we got this melanin in our skin to protect us. We got this wool hair. Nobody got hair like this. And we have we can go out in 120-degree weather with no sunscreen on and don't even burn. But we'll sit up there and look at a white person and think that they are better because the United States corporation told you that. They told you that everything, if it comes from a white person, we believe it. You know what, Carrie? I was so shocked. I almost passed out. I was taking care of this person, and I said something. I said it in a way where it wasn't disrespectful, but I needed to tell one of my clients that. He said I couldn't believe what came out of his mouth, and he told me, he said, "I'm gonna go tell the white man on you." I almost passed out when I heard it. I had to tell him to repeat it again.
Who said that? A brother?
Yes, told me that.
Yeah.
God, I swear I did.
Yeah.
But I was.
Yeah.
I swear I'm not lying. One of them told me that, and that's when, and it wasn't that long ago, and that's when I realized some melanated people, it's over. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. When I see that, for somebody to say the way they beat y'all ass, the way they beat you, and then you're gonna tell me that you're gonna go tell the white man on me.
I was gonna go tell boss.
I was so shocked.
So let me tell you something of how we get twisted up real quick. This is just simple stuff. This is how they play with your mind. And if we don't get it, this shit is on us. So everybody's looking at Rabel, right? So you see her, you see the hair at the top of her head. You see her below her hair. If you look at her below her hair, she looks red. I mean, damn. I mean, copper. It can be copper too. Yeah, off the hook. But if you're saying in passing, you'd be like, oh, she's a red woman. Her hair is black, or it can be brown, or but it's closer to black. Mm-hmm. You can definitely see the distinction between the two, her face and her hair. We call ourselves black. We call ourselves black, which is not what she is. And that's how other people know how to come over and pimp you, because you that stupid. I mean, you will call yourself something that if you cut it off and somebody threw it in a trash can, you wouldn't give a damn. Right. Rabel is not black. And so when you say you're black, you're putting a cloud over your head. You're doing it. You're putting out the image on yourself. Nothing black has ever worked for you. Not the Black Panthers, not black anything. You keep giving power to things that obscures your identity, and you do this every single day. So I just want to make that point that you're not black. A lot of people get stuck on that. People are not, People are the color of minerals. The people in America are the color of the minerals in America. Don't we get that by now? No. This is simple stuff. You teach a baby that, he'll never forget it. And we don't teach that and pass it on. So this is just how some of the people, the incoming immigrants, get over on you because of what you say. They're looking at you like, are you serious? And they tell all their friends, and then all their friends come over to feast on you. That's what's happening. You won't wake up. You won't be truthful. You won't do the right thing. And I'm not saying the people here in the chat is like that, because I know you're not. But you see the majority. What are we going through right now? We're going into a place where people are telling you to line up and come get some shit that they running away from now. They backing off from now. Come on, y'all. This is what we teaching our children. I think it's the wrong move we're making. What you think, Rabel?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. And it's like either we're gonna get it together, or we're gonna lose everything, because they really not playing with us. They it I don't have a reference to it, but it's like they want us to do these trends, these challenges. They want us to dress a certain way. They want us to be a banner. If you got a Louis Vuitton purse, and the purse, when you carry them expensive purses, they only pay like about $50 to get them purses made. But our thing, we have to have all this expensive stuff on. And this is what makes us feel like we're somebody, because they took our who we are, indigenous. They took that away from us. And so many people don't want to study who they are. You have to study who you are, and then it'll make you feel better about yourself. Now, if you look at me, I don't wear makeup. I don't put weave in my hair. I don't do none of that. And they'll look at me as though, you're not that attractive, because they're so used to us going and put long hair weave in our hair. And I didn't done it before. They look at this. That's the look that they have given us, to put long hair weave in our hair, eyelashes on, and not look like ourselves. Because if you go back in the early 70s, no, late 70s and 80s, them women, they had hair all the way down their back. They was beautiful. They didn't have to do anything. But now when we try to do it, because these Koreans have came in our store, in our community, and have given us all kind of hair weave and eyelashes, and we don't look ourselves, they want every woman to look that way. They don't want us to just have our carpet tone and be ourselves. This is why, and I'm not trying to get on this, because I have no problem with anybody. You do what you do. This is why transgenders and us, people that do that, they look identical. You can't tell them apart. They don't want us to be ourselves like I am tonight. They want us to look different.
Right.
To take away our identity.
You're absolutely right about the sisters in the late 70s and 80s. Ooh.
Yeah, they was beautiful.
Ooh.
Yes.
So, and another thing about, the hair that's very important, and you'll find out that we don't talk about it, is if I wouldn't say do it, but if you've done it before, mm-hmm. If you pull out one of your hairs, you see that white tip at the end of it?
Yeah.
That plugs directly into the dendrites in your brain. So what happens is, when the sun hits you, those rays hit you, your hair picks that up. And when you always talk about melanin and all this strength and all this that we have, that's how it happens. You don't see indigenous people back in the day wearing sunglasses. You don't see indigenous people back in the day wearing all that eyelashes. You see indigenous people making the things that they made on their land. Isn't it about time we started doing that again? Do you think that's something that's feasible, Rabel? Because a couple of weeks ago, Lisa from the Acamax reminded everyone, and this is why we should feel like asses. We had 200 hospitals and 1 million farmers. This is at the turn of the century, coming into 1900. What happened? And do you think trying to get back to 200 hospitals and 1 million farmers, that's something that's not doable?
I think it is doable. I, you know what, Carrie, we all woke up for it. We all have been enlightened. There's so many of us out there, and you and I know that. It's just that, it's just certain ones that's up front, but it's so many of us out here, and I feel that we didn't get woke up like this for nothing. It was a reason. It was a reason. So I believe that is feasible. But it's a lot of people we need to understand too. And even it can be family members. A lot of people, it's not gonna make it like that, because it's like they too far gone. But I think it is feasible, because why we wasn't enlightened like this to perish. I'm like I tell you my story. I was adopted. I'm a high school dropout. It's a lot of stuff that I was deprived of. But it's like now, it's like I see things clearer, and I know it's a lot of things that I'm going to learn. You have to give respect where respect is due. I'm not on the level of you, Carrie. I'm not on the level of Lisa. I understand this, but as time go on, this is a journey. I believe that we can get to the point where we all can be on one accord, and we can have those hospitals, and we can have that farmland, because that's what everybody is thinking about. It's like it was a time about in the 90s where we was into Tommy Hilfiger and all these name brands. We used to wear them on our chests and try to show out. You notice that a lot of people is not doing that. Even when you look at the holidays, Valentine's Day just passed. Nobody even paid it no mind.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, nobody paid it no mind. And even if you really even look deeper, if you even look at the government, you see Biden out there talking, but nobody is concerned with this government anymore, because it's to be honest, it's standing, but it's over.
It's over.
It's a new regime. It's something different that is happening, and they have no control over it. That is the problem. This is why they quiet. They're quiet, but they're still doing fishy shit to us. They're still like you've been out for a while, and it's like they play with all of our channels.
Right.
So to the point we don't, because they know that we real and we can't be bought.
Right.
So they plays with our channels. So a lot of people, when we make videos, a lot of people don't get them.
Right.
Because I know we both is real.
Right.
But
yeah, they're doing that. They're definitely doing that. But about the 200 hospitals and the 1 million farms, I mean, they can be wellness centers. We don't have to call them, what it's been called. We can call them what we want to call them. But, just make it a place where, it promotes life and living. It don't have to be hospital, because hospital is hospice? Yeah. So, those are the things we have to really get back into. Get it with nature. Nature provides everything anyway. You don't think it provided if we ask for it? In our language, we don't even have to speak it. We got to be on the same page, y'all. All this stupid shit that you think it's not. All this stuff that you thought was cool, it's not. All these entertainers and stuff that you thought was cool. It had a brother call me after the Super Bowl. He was pissed off because all those stars, what they call stars, were out at the Super Bowl and they wasn't wearing no mask. And at the Super Bowl, to be in that whole vicinity, you got to wear a mask. Say all the people, the stars and the athletes and all the famous people didn't have to wear a mask. So it's like, you're right. They're getting it.
You saying they didn't have to wear a mask, like?
So if you got Magic Johnson slapping hands with Jay-Z, they ain't wearing no mask.
Okay.
But you know, it like you said, you just said it. It's over. I mean, it'll be those who can't see it. You know, okay. Oh, it's still people walking outside with masks on, driving the car by themselves with masks on. Serious. I mean, some people are not gonna get it, but you just said it. It's all over. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
For those who can see. And like you say, many people, that TV is their brain. That TV is what they use to think with. That's why people can't get off of it. That TV tells everybody who watches it what to do, when to do it. Don't worry about why you do it, just do it. This is what's happening. And so, like you said, I see it. You see, millions of people see it. So, and another thing I think that they're doing too, they're making it seem like a lot of people aren't getting it. You know, they're trying to make it seem like these people are, she don't know what she's talking about. Make it seem like you don't know what you're talking, but people getting what you're saying. And this is how I know they're repeating what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
They're repeating what you're saying. So people are getting it, like you say, and people in the chat say, a lot of people are too far gone. Let them enjoy their lives, hug them, kiss them, wish them all the best. But, you know, like you say, we got to get them 200 wellness centers up. We got to get those birthing centers down. We got to get that where the tennis shoes are made. We make them ourselves. So everybody's going to buy them because you make them. We don't even think that. If your face was on the money again, what do you think the world would do? Want everything you touch. So, you know, these things we got to pay attention to. What we do have a say. You just can't let people come to your land and just say any goddamn thing and you don't say nothing. That ain't how it works. So, Rabel, last word you want to give us before you get out of here?
No, I just want to just say, Carrie Davis, you and Lisa, I really do respect y'all on a very high level, and I just want to tell you thank you so much, because when I wasn't nothing, you allowed me to get on your platform when didn't nobody at all know me. A month after I made one video, you allowed me to get on your platform, and I just want to thank you for that. You know, you're a real one. I just want to just let you know that.
Well, I want to thank you for coming because look where you are. Now I'll be reading, I'll be seeing the posts you be putting out and the lives you be doing. I'll be like, damn.
Yeah.
Look, so baby, I'm proud of you. Keep on pushing because you know, or keep on evolving because they hear you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
ma'am. We'll chat soon.
Okay.
All right, love. Take care. All right. So I want to tell everybody thank you. Hey, this is what you get. You know, these brothers and sisters, they're listening. A lot of people are starting to listen more. And dang, we just saying African Americans ain't Africans. How you get mad at that? Especially when they all rushing over here. You don't even ask them because you don't want to hear them tell you the truth. So I want to thank all of you guys for joining us tonight. Thanks for the donations, the chat, and the super chat. I really appreciate you guys. And hey, we'll see you this weekend with Lisa. We'll see you Friday. All right. Peace.